Welcome to the Google Classroom tutorial. To link the app to Google Classroom, tap the settings icon at the top, scroll down to Google Classroom, and go ahead and tap the account to link your account. If you did that a while back, I suggest tapping the account again to unlink your account and then relink it, as there's some new permissions that give the app some new functionality. One of the most basic features of linking to Google Classroom is being able to import student rosters. Tap the plus button and go to Manage Students. On this screen here, if you tap the plus button again and select Import from Google Classroom, you'll now have the option of importing one of your classes. As you can see, I have two here. I'll select Android App Making, and your students will be imported. Once you've done that the first time, this class is now linked to Android App Making. So in the future, if a couple more students are added to your classroom online, if you tap the plus button again and select Import from Google Classroom, it'll immediately just import any new students without asking you for the class. If for some reason you link to the wrong class, you can tap the More Options to the right of the class name at the top, and you have the option to unlink from Google Classroom there. All right. So now, another feature on the main screen is if you go to the gradebook here, there are a couple options. If you tap the assignment header, you'll see there's Google Classroom options there, and there's a couple. You can add an assignment to Google Classroom. If you add an assignment from the app to Google Classroom, you'll be able to sync grades from the app to Google Classroom or from Google Classroom to the app. If you create the assignment from a Google Classroom app itself, you can only sync grades to the app. You can't sync grades from the app to Classroom unless the app created the assignment. So for example, I'll show you here. The other option is you can tap the plus button and import an existing assignment from Google Classroom. So I'm going to import rubric 1. And you'll see it'll show you syncing the scores and everything there. So here we go. There's rubric 1 that was on Google Classroom. I did not create that assignment with the app. So you'll see if I tap on the headers, select Google Classroom options. And let's say I want to export grades back to Classroom. If I select that option, I'll get the error saying permission denied. So that means that I did not create this assignment from the app. Whereas I'll show you here, if I go to lab number 1, select Google Classroom options, and I say add assignment to Classroom, this will now link to Google Classroom. It'll sync the scores. And what this means in the future is I can go ahead and make some changes to the grades, and then I can resync the grades back to Classroom. And this will be allowed since I created the assignment using the app. So if I change a grade here, Andres, I'll give him a 25. Maria, I'll give 22. So I can go ahead here, tap the header, select Google Classrooms, and I'm able to export grades to Classroom, and I won't get the error message now since I've added this assignment to Google Classroom. All right, so hopefully that shows you that as long as you create the assignment in the app and add it to Google Classroom, you can sync back and forth. So, as I said before, I can go ahead on Google Classroom, change grades, and if I want to update, go ahead here, select Google Classroom options, and import grades from Classroom as well, back and forth. So hopefully that makes sense there. Google Classroom only supports numerical values, so if you have it blank, you won't see the exempt or other options. So do keep that in mind as well. If any of your custom grades using symbols will not be supported by Google Classroom at this time, only numerical values. All right, I think that's the main stuff there. So hopefully you find these useful here. Also, once you've linked an assignment to Google Classroom, you'll see you have the option to unlink. So in the future, when you export from Google to Google Classroom, you don't need to select the assignment every time. The app will remember which assignment you linked to the first time. But if for some reason you chose the wrong assignment, you can always unlink from there. All right, feel free to email with any questions. I'm always happy to help out, as you know, getting started out, this might be a bit complicated, but hopefully you find this useful. Thank you.